Welcome back to the sanctuary of hidden truths, anything you want. In an industry built on perfectly rehearsed smiles and carefully curated silences, true vulnerability is a rare and dangerous currency. Usually, we are fed the script, the polite denial, the professional deflection, the mask that never slips. But what happens when the dam breaks? What happens when a live broadcast, intended to be a routine career retrospective, accidentally crashes into a memory so raw that it scatters every defense in its path? Today, we are not just reporting news, we are revisiting a moment that has etched itself into the timeline of Turkish television history, a moment where Cenk Torun, a man synonymous with stoic elegance, let the world see the ache of a story he never truly finished. Before we step into that studio and analyze the silence that screamed louder than any headline, I need to ask for your alliance. To ensure you never miss these deep psychological dives into the lives of the stars who captivate you, verify that you are subscribed to Anything You Want. And for those among you who wish to be the true architects of this community, empowering us to tell the stories others are afraid to touch, I invite you to click the join button below. Your support is the heartbeat of this channel. Now, prepare yourselves. We are about to witness the instant a question about Mahsane Merabet turned a calm interview into a confession of the soul. To understand the magnitude of the rupture, one must first appreciate the perfection of the facade that preceded it. The broadcast began like any other late-night conversation, a relaxed rhythm, the soft hum of studio lights, and the easy banter of a crew looking forward to the end of a long day. Cenk Torun, known in the industry as a reference point for professional composure, was in his element. He sat with the tailored elegance of a man who has spent decades mastering the art of the public persona, fielding questions about his craft and career with the precision of a sculptor. Every answer was measured, every smile calculated to offer warmth without intimacy. To the casual observer watching from their living room, there was no indication that the atmosphere was brittle, no warning that the air in the room was about to become unbreathable. Then, fate intervened in the form of a digital scrolling bar. The host, perhaps innocently seeking a viral spark or perhaps underestimating the weight of the past, decided to read a viewer's comment aloud. It was a simple sentence, stripped of malice yet loaded with history. Cenk, if you could choose again, would you choose Mahsane Merabet? The effect was instantaneous and absolute. It was not merely a moment of awkwardness, it was a physical shift in the room's gravity. The studio fell into a hush that felt less like a pause in conversation and more like the sudden opening of a vault that had been sealed for years. What followed was a sequence of time that defied the frantic pace of modern television. Cenk Torun did not deflect. He did not offer the standard, diplomatic answer that PR teams train actors to deliver. Instead, he stopped. 1 second bled into 2, then 3, an eternity under the glare of the cameras. His gaze dropped from the lens to a point on the floor invisible to the rest of us, as if he were suddenly tasked with gathering the shattered fragments of a memory that had spilled out of him. He raised a hand to his face, rubbing his skin with a slowness that spoke of profound exhaustion. Not physical tiredness, but the weariness of a soul carrying a burden it cannot set down. When he finally lifted his eyes, the high-definition cameras caught a shimmer that no filter could hide. His eyes were wet. When he spoke, the famous baritone that has commanded so many scenes wavered, cracking under the weight of his own truth. His answer was a detonation. There are names that do not fade, he admitted, his voice barely rising above a whisper. There are names that move into the deepest chambers of your life permanently, and hers is carved into mine. This was not a soundbite, it was a surrender. In that instant, the unshakable gentleman allowed the armor to fall, revealing that beneath the disciplined exterior lived a heart still beating in the past tense. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Within minutes, the clip had escaped the confines of the broadcast and was multiplying across the internet, racing past trending topics to become a global conversation. The analysis was fierce and emotional. Users noted that you do not weep on live television for a colleague you have simply filed away. That kind of visceral grief is the hallmark of a love that is still warm, still alive, and stinging with the pain of the present. The comments section became a testament to collective shock. "I never expected him to let the dam burst," wrote one viewer. "His mouth trembled with the words he has been holding back for years," wrote another. Back in the studio, the host, visibly rattled and likely regretting the decision to open Pandora's box, attempted to steer the ship towards safer waters. He tried to introduce a lighter topic, a joke to break the tension. But Cenk Toran, with a dignified and gentle lift of his hand, declined the escape route. "It's all right," he said, brushing away a tear with a gesture so intimate it felt like an intrusion to watch. He confessed that while maturity often demands silence and the protection of what was once sacred, there are days when the heart refuses to be governed by the mind. He acknowledged that the lessons of a lifetime are sometimes eclipsed by the single, towering lesson named Mahaseen Marabet. "We are witnessing a level of honesty that is almost terrifying to behold." Before we explore the apology that followed, I want to hear from you. Do you believe that some loves are truly impossible to get over, or was this a moment of momentary weakness? Have you ever had a name carved into you like Cenk described? Tell us your story in the comments below. And remember, hitting the like button helps this video reach others who value emotional depth over cheap gossip. For those who want to support independent analysis, the join button is waiting. As courage breeds courage, the floodgates had been opened. Another viewer, emboldened by Cenk's vulnerability, submitted the question that the entire fandom had been carrying in silence. If Mahaseen Marabet were sitting across from you right now, what would you say to her? Cenk took a breath that seemed to shake his entire frame. He locked eyes with the camera lens as if it were a window directly to her soul. His answer was a masterclass in grace. He said he would start with thank you. Thank you for the laughter that saved him on the darkest days. Thank you for the patience to listen to the silence when noise would have been easier. And thank you for creating a space where he could strip away the masks of fame and just be a man. But he did not stop at gratitude. He added a sentence that bent the emotional reality of the room. He stated that if he had ever caused a bruise on her heart, he needed her to know he was sorry. Not casually sorry, not the polite apology of a stranger, but a sorrow that emanated from the deepest chamber of his being. This was the moment the fandom fell silent. It was a confession of fallibility, a public atonement from a man who rarely admits to mistakes. Even media outlets that typically scoff at such displays labeled it one of the most heartfelt confessions of the year. The lights eventually cooled, and the broadcast ended. Cenk Toran left the building without a word to the crowd gathered in the hall, his face set in a rigid line that signaled he had nothing left to give. The paparazzi hovered like crows, but the headphones over his ears were a clear barricade. He had emptied himself on stage, there was nothing left for the street. However, the story did not end when the cameras cut. Hours later, deep in the solitude of the night, a single image appeared on his social feed. It was a picture of a brittle, autumn leaf detaching from a branch and landing on the surface of a still pool, sending ripples outward. The caption was devastatingly simple: some seasons revisit us, and others remain as they are, living only in the mind. No tags, no names, no explanations. Yet, everyone who saw it felt the vibration. The interpretive chorus began immediately. Some saw the leaf as Mahaseen, fragile, beautiful, and carried away by a wind he could not control. Others saw it as a symbol of their story, perfect, yet no longer attached to the tree of life, drifting into the realm of memory. It was a digital farewell, a gentle bow before the final curtain, unprecedented candor from a man who has spent his career guarding his boundaries. Inevitably, the ripples reached the shore of Mahaseen Marabet. Her social media was inundated with comments, some tender, some demanding, all asking if she had seen his collapse. Did you hear what he said? Do you still feel it? She did not answer directly. Directness has never been her style. Her hallmark is an elegant restraint that gives every chosen word the weight of gold. Yet, the next day, as if releasing a message into the wind, she posted a story containing a single sentence: the soul's truths have no need for shouting. The internet split in a heartbeat. Half the audience heard a whisper of hope, a suggestion that their connection exists in a quiet place where cameras cannot reach. The other half recognized a gracious goodbye, a blessing for what was, without a promise for what could be. Whether it was an invitation or a closure, it was clear that Mahaseen met the moment without violating her own boundaries, earning a renewed wave of respect. Of course, a story with this much kinetic energy cannot exist in a vacuum. A former colleague from the set of Azarat stepped forward to confirm what we all suspected, that the chemistry between Cenk and Mahaseen was not acting. He described a connection where a single glance could carry a paragraph of dialogue, where they were tuned into a frequency only they could hear. And now, a new rumor is setting the timelines ablaze. Leaks from a local network suggest that discussions are underway for a reunion interview, a sit-down where the two would face each other at the same table to talk openly about their craft, the art they made, and the fingerprints they left on each other's hearts. Managers have remained silent, neither confirming nor denying the possibility, which has only fed the frenzy. Could life offer them a second scene, this time unscripted? We often say that art steals from life, but in the case of Cenk Toran and Mahaseen Merabet, it seems life has stolen back. We are left waiting, with patience and a little fear, to see if this emotional unmasking is the end of the story or the prologue to a new chapter. In a world starved for sincerity, watching a man lay down his armor felt like medicine. Even without guarantees, the thread connecting him to Mahaseen still hums with a force that will not quiet easily. We will be watching every move, every post, and every glance. Thank you for being part of this journey on Anything You Want. If this story moved you, please leave a comment and share this video. Make sure you are subscribed and have the bell icon clicked. And to our Join members, thank you for allowing us to tell the truth. Until next time, remember, the heart has a memory that time cannot erase. Goodbye.